All right, guys, so we're gearing up for our test tomorrow over sections 8.1 through 8.5, ratios, rates, slope, proportions. Okay, that's kind of in a nutshell what your test is going to be covering. So in the first section of your test, you're going to be asked to write a ratio in 3 ways. So I want you to look at this information. I want you to write the ratio in 3 ways of Braves losses to games played and Yankees losses to the Cardinals losses. Write those ratios in all 3 different ways. All right, so what's Braves losses to games played? What's my ratio? 32 to 90. I've got to add the wins and losses together to figure out how many games they played. 32 to 90 in all 3 ways. Semicolon and then the word to. And guys, that can be in any order. You could do semicolon first, or I'm sorry, a colon first. You could do the word to first. I don't care, as long as all 3 are there. What about Yankees losses to Cardinals losses?
12 to 48.
Whoa, hold on. 12 to 48. 48. Yeah, that's 48 right there. So 12 to 48, all 3 ways. All right, any questions on writing ratios? Not bad. All right, so now let's look at writing the ratio as a fraction in simplest form. I just want you to go ahead and just write these 3 ratios as fractions and reduce them. Remember, don't change them to mixed numbers. Leave them improper, but you're just going to reduce. Okay, so 18 to 4. 18 over 4, what do I reduce it to?
4 and 1/2.
No. Don't make it a mixed number. 9 over 2. That's it. Okay? On the section on your test tomorrow, make sure you just reduce it. Do not change it to a mixed number. 20 over 6 reduces to what? 10 over 3. And 45 over 85?
17.
Okay, 9 over 17. All right. Sorry. Did y'all get all 3 of those? Okay. Very good.
Have you updated your operating system on your iPad? Are you on the 10 point something?
I am due for an update.
Okay, then.
All right, so I find unit rate on the first 2. What's going to be my ratio? How do I set it up? 225 over 5 pounds. Guys, I've said this so many times, and some of you still did not do it on your quiz yesterday. Make sure you label these. If you don't label them, you don't get credit because now it's just a ratio. It's not a unit rate without the unit. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So divide top and bottom by 5. Did you get 45 cents per pound? All right, good. Now 18 cups over 4 servings. Did you get 4.5 cups per serving?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And again, make sure you label. Now, on our distance question, what is our formula to find average speed? Distance over time. So our distance is easy, 220 feet. Again, make sure you label. Over, how do I write my time? 160 seconds, because remember, it all has to be in 1 unit. 160 seconds. Divide top and bottom. And it's a decimal. That's not a huge deal, okay? On your test, I think it works out to be a little more even. The last question is almost kind of like a trick question. Not a trick question, but it's just different than what you've seen before. You will see one just like this on your test tomorrow. It says a zebra runs 15 miles in 30 minutes. So what is its average speed in miles per hour? Well, let me ask you this. How many 30-minute blocks are within an hour? 2, right? The first 30 minutes and the second 30 minutes. So assuming the zebra runs the same speed in both blocks of 30 minutes, if he goes 15 miles in the first 30 minutes and 15 miles in the second 30 minutes, how many miles did he run in the hour? 30. That's your answer. Essentially, you're multiplying it by 2 because there's 2 30-minute blocks. What if I had said he had run 15 miles in 20 minutes? How would you find the miles per hour? Did you hear? Multiply by 3 because how many 20-minute blocks are within an hour? 3 20-minute blocks, so then you would go 15 times 3. Okay? So very similar to what you're going to see on your test tomorrow. All right, so now we're going to find the slope. Finding the slope, we've got two lines. You're just going to read it. We're not doing this on your own graph paper just to save some time, but I want you to find the slope for line A and line B. So for line A, I go from a y value of what? What's my y value on the first point? Y value of 4, right? So it's rise over run. Rise over run. So I go from a y value of 4 to a y value of -2. So how far did I go down on my rise? -6. Okay, so -6 over how far did I run? I ran 4. Over 4, -3 over 2. Make sure you reduce. Do not change it to a mixed number. Who got -3 over 2?
Reduced it.
Okay, yeah, you got to reduce it. So maybe you put -6 over 4, just didn't reduce. Okay, so just make sure you reduce on your test tomorrow. Loza, you with me? Keeping up? Okay. All right, y'all need a chance to fix line B?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and fix it real quick. All right, so what's my rise on line B?
4.
4, and what's my run?
4.
All right, so what do I reduce it to? 1. All right, who got 1? More? Okay, good. All right, so you've got 1 where you're finding the slope, 1 or 2, I can't remember, but this is on your test. Then you've got another one where it says draw the line that passes through this point and has a slope of 5, and we're going to go 5 over 3, just so it'll stay on our graph. So why did I plot a point way down there at 3, -6? What told me to do that? The ordered pair. 3, -6. Okay, so I follow the ordered pair for my first point, and then I follow my slope to figure out where my second point goes. So do I run 5 or do I rise 5? I rise 5. The top number is my rise, and then I run, and then I draw my line. Okay, you got one of these on your test. Now, if you miss this one on your quiz, you must redo it on graph paper. The other one where you're identifying the slope, you can just do it on your regular paper. But if you miss this one, you have to redo it on graph paper. Otherwise, it's -10 on your corrections. What about this one? Draw the line passes through the points, and then what is the slope? How do I do that? What do I do? I heard it. Plot the points. Plot the points. -4 is 6, -2, -5. Before I even figure out what the slope is my slope positive or negative?
Negative.
It's negative. It's clearly slipping down. Okay, so I go from a y value of 6 to a y value of what? -5. -5. So if I go from 6 to 0, how many did I go down? 6. If I go from 0 to -5, how many did I go down? 5. So how many did I go down total? 11. And how many did I run? Yeah, I only went from a -4 to a -2, so it's -11 over 2. Just a really, really steep slope. Really steep slope. Any questions? All right, you've got one of these on your test. Then the whole last half of your test deals with proportions. For equivalent ratios, I'm looking for the what? What am I looking for? Nope. Equivalent ratios. The missing link. The missing link between the sides of the proportion that I know. Okay, so go ahead and find your missing links and then find the value for your variables. Missing link in the first ratio. 2. 44 times 2 is 88. And that's one thing I have to look at. From the ratio that I know both numbers to the ratio I'm solving for the variable, are my numbers going up or down? Okay, here they're going up, right? So I multiply 8 times 2 to get 16. Who got 16? Did you get 16? So what's my missing link for my second one?
2.
It's 2 again. But now look how my numbers are trending. Down. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 10 divided by 2 is 5. All right, so you got to make sure that you pay attention. If the numbers are decreasing, we're dividing. Who got that one right? 5. Okay, good. All right, so now we're going to do algebra. Okay, so go ahead and solve both of these using algebra. The second one, I need you to round to the nearest tenth. Okay, it's going to be a repeating decimal, non-terminating decimal, so just round your answer to the nearest tenth. All right, so first one, what am I going to multiply both sides by? 30. Very good. Multiply both sides by 30. Now, guys, at this point, okay, just put it in your calculator. Fraction button, 12 over 16 times 30. Okay? You can cross reduce. You can do it the long way, but why do that? You have your calculators. Use them. So 12 over 16 times 30 gives me 22 and a half. Why don't I leave my answer as a fraction? Why not leave it as 22 and a half as a fraction? Why not? Anybody know? Or 45 over 2. Why not leave it 45 over 2? Anybody know? How is it going to look to plug a fraction back into a fraction? Not really right. Okay? So that's why I want a decimal. I don't want a fraction over a fraction. That looks weird. Okay? I want a decimal. So, are y'all done with the second one? You still need more time? Come on, wake up. You still need more time? You done, Alexis? Finished with it? Okay, let's go. Solve it. Multiply by reciprocal and solve. All right, so multiply both sides by what? 12. By 12. Very good. The reciprocal, the number that's attached to my variable. That's what I multiply by. Both sides by 12. And, oh, this one was just 16 and a half. It must be the next slide where we have to round to the nearest tenth. Everybody get 16 and a half? Get 16.5? Did you get it? 16 point, raise your hand if you got it. 16.5. All right, that's better. So now with cross products, okay, what it says, I'm multiplying diagonally. I'm multiplying cross products to form my new equation and then solving. Your second one, you are going to have to round to the nearest tenth. So just keep that in mind as you're solving. Four times z, 4z. 24 times 6 is what? 144. Use your cross products, form an equation. Did you get it? What do I divide both sides by? 4. Z is 36. Now, second one, 42m equals 1280. What do I divide both sides by? 42. M equals 30.5. All right, you've got a couple word problems on your test tomorrow. I have given you the same setup that you will see on your test tomorrow. It's just different numbers. So it says at a typical NFL game, the ratio of males to females is 3-2. So in that ratio, which number represents males? 3. Which one represents females? 2. There are how many spectators at a game? 50,000. How many of those spectators would you expect to be female? So what are you solving for? Female, right? How many female spectators? Well, here's the interesting part of how this is set up. I know that in my original ratio, that 2 stands for the ratio of females, right? 2 is my female value. However, it gives me a total number of spectators. So in my ratio, what is my total number of persons in my ratio? 5. So that is the number I have to use. Why do I have to use the number 5? Because I have to compare the same thing on the other side, and it gives me total spectators. So I have to have the total number that's in my original ratio. Do you see that? It goes back to what we were talking about when we're setting up proportions. It has to be the same thing on both sides. So now on both sides of my proportion, I've got females over total. Females over total. So now I can go 5F equals 50,000 What do I divide both sides by? 5. And how many females would I expect? Not 20. 10,000 females. 10,000 females. So, if I'm at an NFL game and there are 50,000, hold on, that's not right. What's 50,000 times 2? Y'all did not correct me. Whoops. Did you get 100,000 and you were just afraid to say something? Okay, so now divide both sides by 5, and you have how many? 20,000. That's the right answer. 20,000 females out of 50 at that football game. Now look at the second problem. I want you to try to set up a proportion that would represent this problem. 260 calories in a 20-gram serving of walnuts. How many calories are there in an 80-gram serving of walnuts? Go ahead and set up your proportion. Make sure it's the same thing on both sides of your proportion. All right, so a couple different ways I could set this up. I could go 20 grams over 260 calories, or you could do 260 over 20. Either way is fine. Equals, but if I go grams over calories on one side, I've got to go grams over calories on the other side. And you may have set it up calories over grams. That's fine. 260 over 20 equals C over 80. It's going to be the same answer. You get 20C equals 260 times 80, which is 20,800. What do you divide both sides by? 20. And how many calories are in the 80-gram serving? How many? Divide both sides by 20. 1,040. Woo! That's a lot of calories. Don't forget to label. I got to squeeze mine in there. 1,040 calories. I'm not eating those walnuts. 1,000 calories? Now, maybe it's just like a huge, I think 80 grams is like massive. Okay, so maybe that's where the issue is. All right, guys, so that's it. That's it for your test. If you understand that, that's everything you need to know.